जय जय श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की जय। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरवनचारी, यमुना तीरवनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरवनचारी, यमुना तीरवनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा माय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की राधा गोपीनाथ की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु एंड गौरंगा श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter number 14 and text number 11. निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजाः तथापि सान्तव्ये I'm reading from Hindi, the Sanskrit one. Yaimasum nasmanstat patakam स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजाः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुं नास्मांस्तपातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथा नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत् निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत्. Translation. Go for it. निरूपितः प्रजापालः स जिज्ञांसति वै प्रजः तथापि सान्त्वये मामुम् नास्मांस्तत्पातकं स्पृशेत्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Oh no, sorry. Word to word. Nirupitaha, appointed. Prajapalaha, the king. Saha, he. Jigham, sati, desires to harm. Vai, certainly. Prajaha, the citizens. Tathapi, nevertheless. Shantve ma, we should pacify. Amum, him. Na, not. Asman, us. Tat, his. Patakam, sinful result. Sprishet, may touch. Translation. We appointed this Vena king of the state in order to give protection to the citizen, but now he has become the enemy of the citizens. Despite all these discrepancies, we should at once try to pacify him. By doing so, we may not be touched by the sinful results caused by him. Purport. The saintly sages elected King Vena to become king, but he proved to be mischievous. Therefore, the sages were very much afraid of incurring sinful reaction. The law of karma prohibits a person even to associate with a mischievous individual. By electing Vena to the throne, the saintly sages certainly associated with him. Ultimately, King Vena became so mischievous that the saintly sages actually became afraid of becoming contaminated by his activities. Thus, before taking any action against him, the sages tried to pacify and correct him so that he might turn from his mischiefs. Let's do the Mangalacharan prayer together. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे नाम हरेर्नामैव केवलं कलौ नास्त्यैव गतिरन्यथा। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं नन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. And Happy New Year. Thank you. So thank you everyone for coming to Hare Krishna temple on Sunday. This is the first Sunday of this year. So thank you very much. And as you all are sitting here, do you know what is it? What am I speaking? What is this like? What's the time? 8:30. What does the temple do at this time? Bhagavatam class, yeah. And Bhagavatam is one of the topmost literature in our Shastras. Whether be it ISKCON or any other movement, everyone understands that Bhagavatam is the topmost of all the literatures. And so you all are so lucky and pious soul that you are sitting here, not because I'm giving class, because this is Srimad Bhagavatam class going on, and we are going to take some nectar from today. And this class happens every day, not just Sunday and Saturday. It happens all 7 days, 12 months in a year. The time is 7:45 to 8:45, but it may fluctuate, it may varies as per days, as per singers, and as per people who are leading it. So today we are talking on chapter 14 of Canto 4. So Canto 4 is chapter 14 is the story of King Vena. So before the story of King Vena, the stories starts from Dhruva Maharaj. Please tell me who doesn't know who is Dhruva Maharaj. You can raise your hands. So I presume everyone knows who is Dhruva Maharaj and the story of Dhruva Maharaj. So chapter 4 was actually the start of Dhruva Maharaj, and then it started with how Dhruva Maharaj got the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then his descendants, so his son's son. So Vena is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's the 8th generation after Dhruva Maharaj. And this question was actually asked by Vidura to Maitreya. So the story of Dhruva Maharaj is actually being narrated by Maitreya Muni on the question asked by Vidura, that I want to know more about Dhruva Maharaj and his pastimes. So Vidura is, who is Vidura? Sorry? I can't. Dhritarashtra's brother. So yes, Vidura from Mahabharat's era, and he, on a very grave insult by Dhritarashtra's son, which is Duryodhan, he leaves the palace and he goes out for Dham Yatra, and he was destined to meet Maitreya Muni, where he is inquiring few questions from Maitreya Muni, and Maitreya Muni is answering it. So you'll see few shlokas before where Vidura is actually asking that who is Vena? He is the 8th generation from Dhruva Maharaj, but who is he that he was so grave, he was so impious that he had a curse from the Munis? Who is he? And why a very pure soul, Dhruva Maharaj's dynasty has a person has a soul like this? Why? All these questions. Also, we can see from the question what Vidura is asking, he is asking very submissively. He is not challenging. He is not saying that you have to tell me how come he is like this. Very submissively he is asking. This is what we need to understand. When we are in a spiritual path, or when we are in a learning path, and we have questions, there's no harm in having questions, but there's harm in how you ask those questions. Sometimes we get so puffed up with whatever we have, we don't ask, we argue. And we don't see the person with whom we are arguing, the person with whom we are asking. The point that the person is able to answer our questions, we have to be submissive towards them. Asking questions should be in that respect. So Vidura is saying, not just asking that who is he, or why he is coming like this, why he is so impious, but he is asking in a way, my dear Muni, so Maitreya Muni, you are such a pious soul. You have helped me understand all these, those adjectives to add on to help that I am such a fallen, please help me. Not just by saying I'm fallen, I need answers, but in a way, we first praise and then ask questions. So these are certain standards of spiritual life, how we should deal in our life too. So he is asking those questions. So as a question asked, Maitreya Muni is explaining the story of Vena. So what he used to do and why he was so impious, why he was so sinful. And we are in text number 11 where before that, his father was Anga, Maharaj Anga, who didn't had any son. And when he prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he asked for a boon for a son. And when he got a son, when he got the prasad from that offering, when he was giving to his wife, in his heart, subconsciously or consciously, he prayed that may this son may not be so good, so that I don't get attached and I leave this world soon. And so be it. Supreme Personality of Godhead is sitting in everyone's heart. He's listening, he's hearing, and he has fulfilled his desire that his son was a bad son. So when Vena started his bad propensity of killing unnecessarily, whether it's human or animal, he was killing and making a big havoc. Everyone used to think, oh, here he is, oh, here he has come. And they used to get afraid of. His presence was so impious that people used to get scared.
But looking at these things, Anga, the father of Vena, thought, I will try to teach him, I will try to pull him back to the right direction. As a father, he did, but it didn't help. So he was very morose, and as a result, because he initially had that desire, I want to be detached, as a result, he got that detachment, and one night, all of a sudden, he leaves his palace, beautiful wife, all the opulences, and he goes to the forest. When he goes to the forest, all the citizens, they were like mad, they were looking for him, they couldn't find him. They went to the rishis, because those time, after the king is the rishis, is the saintly person, is the family priest who comes for advice. If anyone has any problem, they go to the family priest, and family priest knows the before and after of that family, and based on that they instruct. So when they saw that yes, there is no one to take the ownership of this kingdom, then they didn't want it to, but they had to, because Vena was the only living heir of this dynasty. So Vena was given this kingdom to rule. And as a result, when Vena got this kingdom to rule, he got really bad in what bad things he was doing. And as a result, his sinful activity grew so much that again, all the rishis were in trouble. Now, this text was talking about where rishis are thinking. They made an assembly, they wanted to have a meeting, they all sat together, they said, oh yeah, we appointed him, fine, but we have to do something because he's not good. And if he is not good, we are going to get the same result. Why? Because any decision when we take, and the result of that decision, we get the karma out of it. Whether it's a good or a bad, we get the karma, even if we are not the one who is performing those activities. So the rishis thought, they have appointed Vena, who is not a good king, and because he is doing sinful activities, the rishis may get contaminated and get those karmas. So as a result, like every soul gets this chance to correct someone else. Now, someone else doesn't mean that anyone from this room, you just pick someone. Someone else means who is in your lineage or who is in your authority. Because responsibility and authority, if follows together, then only you can follow the karma kanda properly. If you have a son, if you have a daughter, children, you are authorized for those children's activities. Even if you are not doing those activities, if the child is doing something wrong, you get the karma. If the child is doing something good, you get the benedictions. Same like Dhruva Maharaj, he did the penance, he did the tapasya, and 6 months no eating, but his mother got the effect of the penances. She got the benedictions too. When he was liberated, she was also liberated. This is how the parents who have the responsibility and authority, they get the karmas as well, good or bad. Similarly with teachers who are teaching their students, teachers who have students who are very sincere towards those teachers. Whatever teaching the teacher is giving and the student is taking, whatever the student is doing, good or bad, the teacher gets that part. That's why in our movement we say, be very careful, because when we do something wrong, obviously we are going to get the karma, but our gurus are also going to get the karmas. And as a result, our gurus, mostly they fall sick, they are not well, and sometimes they leave us very soon. It's part of our karma, it's part of the activities what we do. So we have to be very careful, not just for us, but for others. And the last one is the king. When the king does something wrong, or the citizens do something wrong, the karma comes to king as well. The king has the potency, the king has the power to rule. And with the rule, he has got these sublime or unconscious karmas, which are good and bad, which is coming into his pocket. So these priests, the sages, the great sages, they are meeting and they are saying that we are going to correct him. Because obviously when someone does something wrong, the first thing is we correct them. So before correcting, how they are saying that the second line, thus out of compassion they began to talk among themselves, for they themselves were the performers of those sacrifices. So the sages are going to talk to Vena as if they are doing what Vena's wrong deed are coming across. So they are saying, first we will pacify him. Why? Because the priests, the sages are compassionate. They will first pacify that, look, you're a very good child, but you're doing something wrong. So it's not like harshly, straight on the spot, on his face, you're doing something wrong. They will first bring him to that level where the sages are by saying good about him, and then they are going to correct him. So this text is about how the sages are thinking. It should be understood that sages, the saintly person and the devotees, are not unconcerned with people's welfare. So because they are concerned about people's welfare, they are thinking how best we can explain this cruel person, how best we can make him understand that whatever you're doing is not right. Please understand. But in the later text, you will see how he just disregards and he doesn't listen to them. Now, in the illustration here, is anyone who is here who has done this illustration? No? Okay. So, what I understood is, it's Vena who is lying down, and the sages, that's Prithu Maharaj. So one after this. So in the previous chapter, it's been said that how Vena was very cruel, and because of his cruel activities, the sages curse him, and as a result, they kill him through their mantra. So the mantra has the power to even revoke or kill. So this particular illustration is from that text where Vena was killed, and then the sages understood, there is no one to look after the kingdom, now what should they do? So that text comes when they actually do another mantra, and the sages, with their power, with their mystic power, they chant some mantras, and then they create another soul from the dead body of Vena. So even if he was dead, he had that potency, because again there's a long story and it's the next chapter, next texts. So this text is particularly about how sages, like who are the elevated people, how they are so compassionate about the common people, because there's no one to look after the common people. It's the elevated soul, it's the realized soul who look after them. And sages, being the realized soul, they are actually trying to get Vena's bad karmas out to help the normal citizens. The ordinary karmis are busy, because the ordinary human beings, the karmis or the grahasthas, they are busy in their daily activities. They are busy in incurring money so that they can take care of the brahmacharis and the sannyasis and the vanaprastha. It's the only among the four order of social life, it's the varnashrama. It's the grahastha who has got the biggest responsibility to look after the rest of the ashramas. And as a result, they are busy. So this is called as ordinary karmis, are busy acquiring money for sense gratification. But sense gratification is for people who doesn't understand. They think that that money is for me to enjoy. But I'm talking of the varnashrama, where we are responsible, because we all are, most of us, not this side, is grahasthas. So we are busy in earning money, and obviously those earning money is to take care of ourselves, but also to help the temple, to help the other ashramas. And ordinary jnanis are socially aloof when they speculate on liberation, But actual devotees are saintly person who are always anxious to see how people can be made happy both materially and spiritually. So it's the job of sages, the priests, family priest, and the king to make sure the citizens are following the spiritual life. So, whatever their rules, whatever their punishments towards the kingdom and the citizens of the kingdom is merely to bring them to the level of spirituality so that they can continue their spiritual life, their spiritual journey. So, when the sages saw that there is no way when King Vena is on the throne, this normal citizens will be able to proceed towards the spiritual life. And as a result, through their compassion, they wanted to correct Vena. Therefore, the great sages began to consult one another on how to get out of the dangerous atmosphere created by King Vena. So, in our society, the parents, the teacher, and the king, they have got the biggest responsibility, because it's in Bhagavad Gita how it says that people in general follow the leaders, and leaders are by default parents, king, and the teacher. So yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tat eve tarojana sa yad pramanam kurute lokast anuvartate. They will follow the leaders. So nowadays it's the leaders can be anybody. It's not just parents, limited to parents or king or politicians. It's like sports person, it's the Bollywood, the Hollywood. People are not that intelligent that they don't even understand whom to follow. They just see the fame, the beauty, and the glamour of that person who has reached that level. They just want to be like that, and they follow them even if they are doing the wrong thing. So the sages here, they are seeing the very grave situation, and that's why they wanted to help the citizens by approaching Vena and explaining and instructing to him that whatever you're doing is not right. Please correct yourself. It will help you in your long life. So I'll stop here, and the ground is open to you all to correct me or add a point, whatever. It's up to you. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. I don't know if I'm today not. Can you be loud enough? So if I've understood your question, you're asking that how come Vena's father Anga, being such a pious person, he begets a sinful son like Vena. That's one question. Second is, how come sages should be aloof. They should be like, a person who is liberated. They shouldn't be cared about what's going on. But how come they got involved into it? Have I understood correctly? How King Anga renounced at a very early stage, isn't it? Without giving the proper air to the citizens. Good question. Thank you. Let's take the first one. In the previous texts, it said that how Anga, being the heir of Dhruva Maharajas, and Anga being such a pious soul, he gets he doesn't get any son. So the sages explains to him, we can't see that you have done anything wrong or you're sinful in this age, in this life, but you have done something wrong in your previous life. And as a result, you are bereft of any children. So you don't have any children. That was first point, where Anga didn't have any son. When he was performing an Ashwamedha Yagya means 100 horse sacrifice yagya. When he was performing that, none of the demigods came down. None of the elevated souls accepted the invitation. So he was worried, what did I do that they were not happy? Then as a result, the sages said, in your previous life you have done this. So make sure we do this sacrifice to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So forget about your Ashwamedha Yagya, do the yagya to please the Supreme Lord. Because if you please the Supreme Lord, eventually everyone will be pleased. So he takes the instruction of the Munis and he does the he stops the Ashwamedha Yagya and he does the yagya to please Supreme Personality of Godhead. As a result, body comes out from that fire and he was given a sweet milk rice as a prasadam. He gives that prasadam to his wife, and when he was giving that prasadam to his wife, he was actually saying that, may I not get a good son. That was his desire, a subconscious desire, because he didn't want it to be attached. So this is how Vena came into the picture of this like pious dynasty. But your second question is where, how come sages who should not involve into political affairs and things like that? Again, in this chapter, we have seen, or we are going to see, that how sages are saying that they don't want to involve into political affairs, they don't want to get into this, but out of compassion towards the normal citizen, because there's no one to look after the normal citizens. So at the end, it comes into the shoulder of these great sages who are realized, who want to help the normal citizens, and that's why they take the ownership of bringing Vena into the picture, giving him the authority. But when Vena doesn't do the right thing, then they again take the ownership of removing him out. And your third question is, why Anga, being such an elevated soul, did not do his responsibility? This is a very kind of contradictory question, which we often bring when we are reading these kind of stories. Say, for example, another example is, it's not coming in my mind, but similarly, the king was a very good king, and like Parikshit Maharaj. I have heard people even asking that how come Parikshit Maharaj leaves his kingdom at the middle of nowhere when he hasn't given the right heir to the citizens? Isn't he going to inculcate any, or isn't he going to get any karma out of it? Now, there are two things. People often leave their responsibilities because either they are not able to handle it, or they are detached in the sense of showing off, or they want to just run away from it. They can't do that activity. That kind of renunciation is a sin, is actually a sin. The second renunciation which we see in Bhagavatam, where the kings have done their part but not completed yet, and they leave the kingdom right in the middle of like nowhere, like Anga has done. He has left it in nowhere, but the motive behind that action, see, Krishna is Bhavagrahit Janardhan. We see the activity because that's Chakshu, that's what we can see. But he is Bhavagrahit Janardhan, he sees the motive inside. When a pious king leaves his responsibility, the motive behind that activity is seen by the Lord, and as per that the Lord awards. Whereas simple people, mundane people, they take it as, oh, because he did it, I can do it too. but why are you doing it? What is the purpose of you doing it? Needs to be checked by that individual. So if we understand that Anga is leaving the kingdom in the middle of nowhere where he hasn't given the right heir to the kingdom, it's not because he want to just go into the forests and follow the vanaprastha. It's because that particular moment where he's trying to explain Vena and Vena is not understanding it, he has gone morose. And as a human, it's natural for a person to feel that way. And when he felt that way, he thought this is the right moment. Because the next time if I again try to explain him, I'll get attached. And I might not leave, because living a beautiful palace, living a beautiful lifestyle is very hard. Very hard. When you don't have anything and you're living it, it's easy. When you have everything and then you leave, it's the hardest time. And that time, King Anga thought, this is the right time I should leave. I should not wait for any more surprises, or I should not wait for any more sadness to come by Vena. This is the good time. And that's why he left. And as a result, you see, when there is a doubt in the responsibility, God always helps. King Anga left the kingdom in such a unpleasant way. But his motive was not to leave people in unpleasant way. His motive was his own cleanliness. That's the only motive he had. Lord arranged these sages. Lord is in everyone's heart. These sages had that understanding that, king has left. We need to protect the kingdom. We need to help the normal citizen. And as a result, they stepped up. But obviously, you will see they did not involve too much into the activities. And they actually got helped from the great personality, supreme personality of Godhead. So, I hope they understood. You had a question? Was she? Just by example. Just by an example. There are so many people, so the question is how we as a practicing devotee, trying to be a practicing devotee, what's the question? How can we help each other follow the right things? So just by an example, in the sense, you do what is necessary, you do what's your responsibility, people will follow you unconsciously. They will look at you unconsciously. They might not say that, I watched you doing this. But when you do the things which have been told to you by your guru, by your acharyas, and you're following it correctly, even despite amongst your challenges, that is your practice. Don't have to worry who is looking at me, who is watching me. Lord is watching you, even if no one is. And this is the hard part of a practicing devotee. We always seek for validation. We need it. It's not wrong. We need it. But where you are seeking that validation, you should be careful of. You can't just seek, or you can't just take validation from anywhere. Even amongst devotees, you have to be careful, very careful, where you're seeking that validation. And when you come to a level where you understand that, yes, I'm doing enough, and I'm doing as per my promises made to my Gurudev or to my acharyas, you yourself will understand and you will be pleased, and you'll stop seeking validation. That part of seeking validation is very hard, because we often get trapped into it and fall for it. So it's merely practice. And how you can stick to your practice? The 3 syllable of the Maha Mantra. by listening to it. When you're chanting, just listen to the syllables. That's it. That's the only duty you have. The things which are in past, we can't control it. The things which are going to come in future, we don't have any control of it. What control we have? The present. The only present. And in the present life, what we are doing? We are chanting. All of us are chanting. So at least if we can chant the Mahamantra, the 16 syllable, the 16 words and the 3 main words, Hare, Krishna and Radha. The mix of this is given to us by Srila Prabhupada from the Kali Santara Upanishad. That is enough. And when we take the chanting beat, there's nothing else we should be thinking. Even if things come, it is mind, very chanchal. Even if things come in our mind, we should stop it and say, can I please listen to what I'm chanting? Talk to yourself. And then it comes out. I mean, from my experience. Yeah, it helps. If we are living in our present, with full concentration of our chanting, everything else falls in place. Everything else falls in place. We don't have to worry. And if you have taken Harinam as your life, soul, goal, there's nothing else you should be worried. Yes, Mataji.
Another question, just adding on to the second question of Prabhu. So, when us was starting pious activities, that's why sages have to come with actions to get back to pious activities.
Yeah.
I see why the sages have to go to the involved field instead of pious. When us was starting.
Oh, okay. Vena was impious, and as a result, the sages wanted to stop him. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Happy Krishna Conscious New Year to you too. May 2025 becomes really a very good Krishna Conscious life, gives you a Krishna Conscious activities more and more.
Keeping aside, it's a pastime. Just trying to understand. Any reason the sages have decided upon instilling Vena on the throne, despite knowing his cruel character, despite the assembly of ministers expressing their displeasure? Is it because they have to stick to the lineage, they have to stick to the monarchy? Is that the
Yes, the question is why, despite knowing that Vena was a cruel person, why the sages install him as the heir to the throne? So Prabhuji is saying, is it because of the monarchy? Yes, Prabhuji. That's not my answer, that's been given here in the later text. That, yes, monarchy is where the heir of the throne should be from the same family. Now, it may not be the first son or the second, may not be the first eldermost son, but it has to be someone. So you will see Dhruva Maharaj had, I'm not sure, he had 2 sons or more than 2. He had 2 or more than 2. So his first son, I don't remember his name, his first son was so self-realized that he was being called as mad by others. And he was so not interested to rule. So his second son, who is the younger one, he ruled the kingdom, and his lineage is what we are talking about. So here the sages thought that since we don't have any next heir after King Anga, at least Vena, who is a part of this dynasty, who has the blood of the same Dhruva Maharaj's lineage, he should be given that opportunity. That was the only reason. And thank you for asking, because this is what the fun at the end, when I leave it to you guys, you help me to bring up those points which I have missed. I've missed that point, so thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for the class, Manasvi.
Thank you for sitting.
Mataji mentioned the Bhagavad Gita verse that Jadyar Acharati Shreshtas Tatra Devatarojana. And in this, like as Prabhuji had asked, why didn't King Anga get any implications because of abandoning the kingdom? And in that verse it's given that King schooled each why does King Anga not get? Because then he's setting up example for all the other lineage after him. So then what implication does, why does King Anga not get any implication?
So your question is, why does King Anga doesn't get any karma from leaving the kingdom in the middle of nowhere? As I explained to Prabhu's answer, I think Prabhu can answer. It's because his motive. That's number one, why he has left and why he can't get any karmic reaction, or maybe he might get karmic reaction. I don't know, but then at this particular text, what we are understanding till so far is his motive behind leaving the kingdom. And the second point is you saying the yad yad acharati shreshtas. Yeah, this is where the problem is. This is where when we read, see, these books are very easily available. Book distribution, you get these books. But when we read and we don't understand it properly, that's when we are inviting karma in our own life. That's where it is said very clearly that when you read these books, you need a teacher. Because see, the question which you had, there are so many people, they had the same question. They said, oh, he left, he didn't had any karmic reaction. Well, that's not said in Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam which we have got is the most refined ones. The actual Bhagavatam was like 10 times more than these shlokas. So there are so many detailed parts which are missed, which are not being there. So who will tell us? Acharya will tell us, right? Otherwise we'll think this is the only thing. There's more to it. So we need a teacher for that. We can't just blindly follow yad yad achariti shreshtas tat tat devetarojana. We can't blindly follow it. When we had this doubt, yes, that shloka does not fit in Anga's activity. How should we understand? That's where a guru comes in. That's the time where a guru will explain you based on your understanding, based on your situation in the social life. So King Anga definitely left in nowhere. It's not the right thing to do for a king. But his activity was not for his own sense gratification. His activity for his purity. His activity for his going back to Godhead. Again, there is a controversy. If that activity is giving others in problem, is that a right thing to do? Of course not. You want to add something, Prabhu?
So, like what we read in the previous verses is that Maharaj Anga did try hard to reform Vina. So, but at the point, when he came to the point that he realized that it's not in his power to ensure that there is a proper heir, then he took it that, okay, then I just have to take the ultimate duty to serve as a king. Which his choice, so to speak, because he couldn't serve by ensuring the kingdom by his surprise, and he left it.
Yeah, so
That's still setting
he tried, yeah, he tried to correct Vena. When Vena didn't understand, he continued to be that same sinful person. Then he left. But see, the decision of trying to correct him and leaving the kingdom, there is a big struggle for that king. And what struggle he went through, he only knows. And when he was taking that decision that I need to leave, he made sure that he is not taking that decision merely because he is in depressed condition where his son is not good enough. He understood that this is the only time I can leave. Otherwise, I'll get trapped again. Because this life is so beautiful for him, no? He's got a beautiful kingdom full of opulence. So it is hard to just judge and take lessons from these kind of stories. Okay, so
I can just maybe also if he's still on the throne, he will make life of those things difficult to correct. So by being not present, he made it easier for us. Just
yeah, thank you. Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, all glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, all glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, all glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai.